Not until she saw her future mother-in-law peel off her own skin with her own eyes did the girl realize in horror the real reason why her mother-in-law had been helping her take care of her skin was to steal the girl's skin and replace it with her own. It turned out that not long ago, when the girl stayed at her boyfriend's house for the first time overnight, her wealthy mother-in-law personally prepared a special medicinal bath for her to soak in, and even came over specially to massage her and exfoliate her skin. The girl was deeply moved by this, and immediately shared the incident with her friends. But after hearing about it, her best friend warned her that the mother-in-law was only doing this to seize her skin in the future. The girl felt a little scared upon hearing this, because her best friend was well informed. Her best friend had told her before that her boyfriend's family were immortals, who had to maintain their eternal life and youthful looks by swapping hearts and skins with others. Moreover, after the girl moved into her boyfriend's house, many things that happened to her turned out exactly as her best friend had predicted, so she planned to follow her best friend's advice and leave the place first. However, her mother-in-law warmly begged her to stay, saying that she felt an instant connection with the girl the moment she saw her, and would take care of her like her own daughter from then on. The girl didn't have the heart to bring up leaving again after hearing that, but she noticed that during the days she stayed at her boyfriend's house, her mother-in-law really treated her extremely well. Not only did she give the girl many expensive tonics every day, but she also personally taught the girl skin care methods. Yet when her best friend learned about this, she warned her again that the reason the mother-in-law was giving her tonics was because the mother-in-law herself was a bit overweight, and the girl needed to gain weight for the skin swap to work. But after spending several days with her mother-in-law, the girl felt that the older woman didn't seem to have any ill intentions toward her, and thus thought her best friend had gotten it wrong. However, on this day when she went to dinner, she suddenly noticed that her mother-in-law was feeding her boyfriend in front of her father-in-law, and their gestures were obviously overly intimate. At first, the girl didn't pay much attention to it, but during the meal, her paralyzed father-in-law suddenly knocked the chopsticks off the table. The girl quickly reached out to pick them up, and then caught sight of her boyfriend and mother-in-law's feet touching under the table. The girl found this very strange, and couldn't help but quietly observe their every move. She ended up discovering that her mother-in-law would sneak into her boyfriend's room every night. Out of curiosity, the girl followed her in one day, and saw her boyfriend and mother-in-law both disheveled and flustered. But her mother-in-law explained that her boyfriend's clothes had torn, so she had specially come over to help him mend them. The girl was half convinced and half skeptical about this, but when she passed by her parents-in-law's room, she accidentally saw her father-in-law seemingly trying to climb out the window and jump off. The girl quickly rushed forward to stop him. The mute father-in-law took the chance to hand her a piece of cloth, on which was written a message telling the girl to run away quickly. Just then, her mother-in-law and boyfriend arrived on hearing the commotion. They saw the scene and quickly explained that the father-in-law was having an episode of senile dementia, and that he had often done things like this before. However, the girl didn't quite believe their words, so she turned around and told her best friend about all these things. Her best friend told her that the man she called father-in-law was probably not her real father-in-law, and that the man she called boyfriend was probably not her real boyfriend either. The girl was completely confused by her words, but her best friend told her to find a chance to ask the father-in-law. So the next day, when the girl took advantage of the mother-in-law going to see her boyfriend again, she quietly went to the father-in-law's room. As a result, the father-in-law told her to take out the boyfriend's ID card from under the bed. Then he pointed at himself, hinting to the girl that the ID card actually